Welcome back to Outside Views. The political theatre in Britain has reached a level of absurdity that is almost too painful to watch. And the headlines are crystal clear and utterly damning. Brexit Brits are suddenly jealous of Germany. And this isn't just a political shift, it's the final undeniable proof that the entire Brexit project was built on a foundation of lies and fantasy. Because now, the very architect of the chaos, the man who made his name campaigning against the perceived open borders of the European Union, is holding up Germany as the gold standard for tough immigration enforcement. Nigel Farage, the founder of Reform UK, the man who promised the British people they would take back control of immigration by leaving the EU, is now looking across the channel and asking, if the Germans can do this, why can't we? And the sheer irony is enough to make your head spin. This political pivot is triggered by a truly horrific case involving an Afghan multiple offender identified by the media as Fayaz H, who made his way to the UK on a refugee boat, fleeing Swedish authorities where he was wanted for a slew of serious crimes, including child SA, animal cruelty and drug offences. And this man, with a disturbing assault rifle tattoo on his face, openly threatened to shoot Farage in a TikTok video. He was a known menace, a criminal who had exploited the weaknesses in the system and who was already wanted for sexually harassing a schoolgirl in Sweden before he acquired a fake identity and slipped into the UK. Fayaz H was a gift to the political populace, a living example of everything they fear and campaign against, and of course a real threat. I'm not playing that one down, obviously. But the most explosive part of this entire story is not the crime itself. It is the political hypocrisy it exposes. Farage, now scenting the premiership, is Twitter-wielding the case, saying that the man should be deported to Afghanistan and, crucially, that the Germans can manage that. He went on to state publicly that since the criminal himself requested to return to Afghanistan, the UK should put him on a plane immediately before he attacks a British prison guard. And then hit the ultimate contradiction. He pointed to the two recently highly sensitive deportation flights from Germany, stating that the Germans are sending whole airplanes full of Afghan criminals back. Why can't we do that, he demands. And let's not forget what Farage built his entire career on. During the 2016 Leave campaign, Germany, under Angela Merkel, was consistently used by Farage as the ultimate deterrent example, the nation that had supposedly surrendered its borders, the cautionary tale of liberal immigration policy that Britain was voting to escape. He promised the British people that Brexit would give them the unique power to control their own borders and filter out exactly this kind of individual. Take back control was his mantra. But the devastating reality, the part that the British public must now confront, is that despite Brexit, Britain has lost and not gained control over migration. The UK is battling with massive legal and illegal immigration, and in the case of illegal immigration via small boats, the numbers are often dramatically worse than they were before the vote. So now, facing the failure of his central political promise, Farage is championing Dobrindt Germany as the role model for tough enforcement. Alexander Dobrindt is our Home Secretary. The political explosiveness of this cannot be overstated. Farage is effectively saying, the EU country I told you was a basket case is now outperforming us on the very issue I told you Brexit would solve. It's an implicit, humiliating acknowledgement that the UK is struggling more outside the European structures than it was within them, or at least that Germany is demonstrating a kind of effective sovereign action that Britain, with its newly reclaimed sovereignty, simply cannot replicate. So where's the thing with we cannot do this while we are in the EU? But let's be clear about the German reality Farage is praising. It's far from simple. Germany's Interior Minister Alexander Dobrindt is indeed working on securing a regular deportation deal with the Taliban-controlled authorities in Kabul. It's a political minefield given that Berlin officially holds no diplomatic relations with the regime. And even the 2 highly publicized deportation flights were brokered through Qatar, highlighting the immense diplomatic complexity involved. And crucially, these flights are a drop in the ocean. Alexander Dobrindt is making quite a good job since he took office, but we are far from where we need to be. The German police registered over 108,409 serious crimes involving at least one Afghan subject or suspect between 2015 and 2024. And the problem is massive, and the German government's actions, though politically popular, are a pragmatic, difficult response to a crisis and not a painless solution. They are pushing the boundaries of international law and diplomacy to address a huge social and security issue, all within the boundaries of the EU. And the question Farage should be asked is not why can't we do that, but what part of Brexit made us less capable of doing that than an EU member state? And the what we call realpolitik answer is a painful one. Leaving the EU did not automatically grant the UK superior powers to control its borders. In fact, it complicated matters. It removed the UK from EU-wide security cooperation frameworks like the European arrest warrant and various shared databases, forcing them to negotiate cumbersome new bespoke agreements. The ability to quickly identify and deport a foreign criminal often relies on seamless, real-time access to information and judicial cooperation between law enforcement agencies across the continent. And the entire principle of taking back control meant tearing up the old integrated systems. What we are seeing now is the chaotic result of that rupture, where the UK is battling massive illegal immigration and struggling to deport criminals. All that while Farage has the audacity to celebrate the supposed competence of the system he demanded the UK abandon. And this sudden, intense jealousy of Germany is the most powerful symbol of the failure of the sovereignty fantasy. Sovereignty in the abstract is a wonderful political tool, but in the gritty reality of international crime and migration flows, what you actually need is cooperation, data sharing, and robust legal agreements. By leaving, the UK replaced seamless cooperation with cumbersome negotiation, and the evidence suggests this has slowed them down and not sped them up. If the UK was still fully integrated into EU security mechanism, its ability to track individuals like Fayaz H., who had a criminal record in an EU member state in Sweden, might have been more robust, allowing for quicker action. Instead, the political focus has been so utterly consumed by the spectacle of small boats and the rhetoric of Fortress Britain that the technical, boring, but absolutely essential work of making the system effective has been completely neglected. And the ultimate irony is that Farage is leveraging his supposed ability to fix the problem, a problem he is not fixing, to propel himself into power. He is now likely next prime minister, according to polls, precisely because the crisis he engineered remains the dominant issue in the national conversation. It's a political spectacle of self-sabotage where the chief arsonist is being celebrated as the only person capable of putting out the fire, even as he demands they use more gasoline or petrol. And this whole political moment is a crucial lesson. Political rhetoric does not solve administrative or diplomatic problems. Germany's ability to act, however limited and difficult at the moment, is a function of its sovereign capacity within a wider European and global diplomatic framework. The UK's failure to act decisively is not because the EU is holding them back. It is a failure of their own post-Brexit political will and administrative effectiveness. Farage's desperation to hold up Germany as a model is the ultimate confession that his promise of taking back control was a hollow, empty shell. It simply hasn't happened. The UK is now in a tougher, more isolated position, grappling with a problem that requires exactly the kind of cross-border diplomatic maturity that his entire political movement rejects. And this sudden and spectacular jealousy of Germany is the political moment that exposes the great lie of Brexit. It confirms that the emotional ideological separation has led not to the promised national rejuvenation, but to a deeply frustrating reality where the country is struggling to deal with the most basic security concerns while looking longingly at the competence of the very union it chose to abandon. This is the moment of truth, where the political dream collapses under the weight of administrative reality and the nation is left wondering why it ever believed the promises in the first place. And if that is still not the biggest irony and so many people will not get it, I don't know. But I'm looking forward to your comments on that one, and if you want to see another video right now, the next one is right here in the end screen.